Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, TGIF. We're here to, sorry, I have a Keo hair on my lip. We're here to look at the rest of the cozy mysteries that were published this week. So we have a few more to look at. Hope you are having a good day. Any plans for the weekend? Hope you're having a good weekend coming up. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday night. Our next sprints are tomorrow afternoon, Saturday afternoon. It's doing a weird thing lately here. All right. Grateful, excuse me, Grateful Ghost by Dina Marie, 8th in the Salem Spirits Cozy Mysteries. Clara Kelly is ready to give thanks, not chasing killers. Volunteering at Salem's annual Feeding Salem food drive and community Thanksgiving dinner, she's busy serving up food, spreading gratitude, and trying to keep her holiday spirits high. But when a volunteer is discovered dead beside an open safe with cash in his hand, the festive mood curdles fast. And when the victim's ghost appears, Clara finds her plate suddenly overflowing with yet another mystery. With her loyal spectral sidekick, Civil War soldier William Kensington carving through clues at her side, Clara follows a trail of half-baked alibis, hidden motives, and suspects who aren't nearly as sweet as pumpkin pie. Yet, even as she hunts a killer, she's roasting with worry about her own big reveal, inviting her boyfriend Sebastian for Thanksgiving dinner, and finally telling him about William. Will he believe her? Think she's lost her marbles, or will his confession be the missing ingredient their relationship needs? Really? This guy needed a ghost in his life for his life to be complete? Can Clara dish out justice and keep her holiday from falling apart? Murder at Lab Lane by Cindy Bell. Nikki Green loves nothing more than spending time with the senior Labradors at her friend Alana's rescue. So when Alana is found dead by the pond one morning, Nikki is determined to find out who did it and why. But as Nikki and her best friend Sonia dig deeper, they discover that Alana's life was far more complicated than either of them knew. A tangled web of family grudges, old resentments, and hidden motives soon come to light, and almost everyone close to Alana seems to have a reason to want her gone. And when Alana's been reveals a surprise that nobody saw coming, the investigation takes a dangerous turn. Can Nikki, Sonia, and their lovable pooches collar the killer before someone else ends up dead? Shoot me. Murder at Clover Farm by Jane Bettany, 6th in the Violet Brewster Mysteries. Former rock star Tarkan Gold thought he had left his wild days behind him when he traded in his glamorous lifestyle to become a farmer. But his dreams of a peaceful life come crashing down when murder rocks his newly opened glamping site. As fate would have it, amateur sleuth Violet Brewster is also a guest at the Clover Farm glamp site, and finding herself once again at the center of a crime scene, she can't resist getting involved in the investigation. Is the killer a random stranger, or does one of the campers have a hidden agenda? Can Violet solve the mystery and restore peace to Tarquin's tranquil retreat before the killer strikes again? Yeah, easy for me to say. End of that row. Hi, Helen. Good afternoon. Amy says, I plan to stay inside as much as possible. I like that plan. Amy says, hi, Helen. That's a good plan. Whispers of Betrayal by Kate Byrne, 2nd in the Duncree Haven Romantic Mysteries. Trust is the most dangerous thing to give, especially in a village where everyone has something to hide. Brenna Callahan is in Too Deep to Stop Now, a body, a village built on silence, a centuries-old secret with very modern teeth. What began as a story has become something far more personal and far more dangerous. The deeper Brenna digs into Dunkehaven's buried history, the clearer it becomes that the people smiling at her across the pub know exactly what she's looking for, and they'd rather she didn't find it. Cormac O'Rourke should be the one person she can lean on, but the guarded local historian is carrying a secret of his own, one that's been waiting quiet and patient for someone to ask the right question. Brenna asks the wrong questions for a living, and the answer to this one could change everything between them. As the mist rolls in off the harbor and the standing stones keep their silent watch, Brenna is learning the hardest lesson Dunkehaven has to teach. The closer you get to the truth, the fewer people you can trust, and the ones you love most are the ones who can hurt you the deepest. Murder's the Word by Sue Minix, 7th in the Bookstore Mysteries. Bookstore owner and crime writer Jen is leaving her amateur sleuthing days behind her. She's got a new novel to finish. If she could just figure out the final murderous twist. Oh, she's a pantser, is she? But when the local high school principal is murdered, Jen soon discovers that retiring is easier written than done. The town is shocked when their beloved vet is named the prime suspect, but Jen knows he simply couldn't have done it. Now it's up to Jen to find the real killer. Can she crack the case before they strike again? Forgotten Secrets by Erica J. Welton, 5th in the Cozy Perch Cafe Mysteries. When Brenda Chapman is found at the bottom of the Elk Point Trail, the whole town calls it a terrible accident. A careful woman who lost her footing on a wet slope. Sheriff Iris Scott has no reason to think otherwise, and neither does anyone else. Then Brenda's grieving son arrives at the Cozy Perch with his mother's 2 cats and nowhere else to turn. He can't take them himself, and the sheriff thought of Alexis. Alexis Belrose has spent nearly 2 years building a careful, hidden life in this little mountain town. A witch who runs a cat cafe and hears her cats speak. She knows better than most how to keep her head down, but the moment Brenda's cats settle into the cafe, something is wrong. Her own cats sense it before she does. A strange chemical scent on a collar, an unease none of them can explain. Whatever Brenda left behind, it followed her cats through Alexis's door, and someone is already searching for it. As Alexis pulls at the thread, it leads into the town's respected Wilderness Foundation, a trail of money that does not add up, and a slowly growing certainty that Brenda's fall was no accident at all. Worse, the deeper she digs, the closer the case creeps to the people she has come to love and to a secret buried at the very heart of Larkspur Valley by someone close enough to break her heart. Yes, talking cats in that one. Quirks, Quibbles, and Quips. If you're looking for a book that starts with Q, for any alphabet things, Fran Heap is the author, 6th in the Willowcroft Cozy Mysteries. When writer Tammy Rumbelow agrees to judge the flash fiction contest, she does not expect a story describing an all-too-real 40-year-old poisoning where the truth is buried 3 feet deep beneath the 4th rosebush from the left. With her clue-sniffing cat, Lockie, Tammy enlists her found family, Olivia the bookstore owner with a secret back room and a murder board, Mrs. T, knitting circle queen who can summon decades of gossip with a single text, Wally the retired sheriff, and Xander the teenage tech whiz. The trail leads to a vanished artist, a land feud, a secret girlfriend, and the sister. The killer is watching. Threatening gnomes appear on doorsteps. A suspect is murdered. With the political race in full swing and the naughty diversion poised to detonate, the team has one shot to turn the festival finale into a trap. Strategic yarn, public scandal, and 2 determined animals may be the only way to bring down the killer before the team becomes the next target. Wouldn't that be targets? Anyway, end of that row. Needed Alibis by Patsy Hicks, 6th. This says 2 books, but down here it says book 6 in the Murder in the Mixing Bowls series. Oakhaven is ready to celebrate Independence Day, and Lou Ellsworth has the bread booth humming with flag focaccia, pans of red, white, and blue cornbread, and baskets of rolls with colorful butter. The hometown college football star has come back to lead the parade, shaking hands and soaking up praise. He is loud, obnoxious, and leaves a trail of hard feelings. Late that night, he is hit by a car and left on the roadside. Lou's foster child witnesses the crash and becomes the one person who can say what really happened. Lou's first job is protection. Then she quietly retraces the evening along the parade route and through the park. There are gaps in schedules, the golf cart that was borrowed, and a truck that reappears after the crowd goes home. With Bruiser and Brown nosing out small details, Lou sifts rumor from fact and follows the path that leads to the truth. Nine Motives for Murder by Louise Foster. Ninth in the crossword puzzle Cozy Mysteries. How can I work with a guilty client, not to mention a dead one? I'm Tracy Belden on a family vacation in San Francisco when a guy dies at my doorstep. He refunded my rent money, emailed me about a vague problem, and then died in a one-car crash at my door. After finding evidence he's involved in a massive fraud, I have to wonder, why did he hire me? The police say he had a heart attack. Call me suspicious, but what if someone wanted him dead before he could talk? The problem is I don't know what he wanted, and I have no proof of murder. Unfortunately, my precocious tween son and my geriatric landlady are determined to help. Maybe I can send them to Fisherman's Wharf instead. Either way, I intend to solve this puzzle. Wallingford Heights, A Lesson in Murder. Third in the Wallingford Heights, A Hair Raiser's Adventure series by Ryan Hale. Wallingford Heights, Massachusetts, 1899. When a gifted Simmons College student is found murdered, the evidence points to an unlikely killer. The town is eager for justice, but Estelle Clara Chastity and there's no T there, so it's Chastity, and Mary Lou aren't convinced the constables have the right man. As the 4 women begin asking questions, they uncover secrets that powerful people have spent decades trying to keep hidden. What begins as a search for a murderer soon exposes old betrayals, buried scandals, and a deadly conspiracy reaching far beyond a single crime. With each discovery, the danger grows. Someone is determined to protect the past, no matter how many lives it costs. Can 4 determined women uncover the truth before another innocent person pays the ultimate price? I almost said the second word here wrong. I don't know. Peaches, Parades, and Peril by Neela Snow. Claire Winters, owner of the Cozy Nook, is ready to enjoy the town's peach festival until the celebrity guest collapses at the welcome brunch, poisoned by sparkling peach tea raised in a toast. With her tabby Max keeping her grounded and journalist friend Sophie chasing every whisper, Claire finds herself doing what cafe owners aren't supposed to do, hunting a killer. The victims, I have a sneeze coming. Excuse me. The victim's exhausted assistant knew her drink preference and placed the fatal glass himself. Her own relative invited her to the festival and carried a complicated grudge. Both had motive. Both had access, and they are only the beginning. Then a second poisoning nearly claims another life, disguised as an act of kindness no one thinks to question. As Deputy Sheriff Mark Benton and Claire close in, they realize the killer is still smiling and closer than anyone wants to believe. It's not all peaches in this small town. Someone sweet enough to trust is bitter enough to kill, and Claire is running out of time before the festival claims another victim. End of that row. 2 more rows. I like this title, but I hate cartoon covers. I'm sorry. It makes it look like a kid's book. We are adults dealing with murder, usually. Cleopatra Almost Slept Here by Heather Haven, 11th in the, actually, this is book 11, but down here it says 15th in the Alvarez family murder mysteries. When the entire Alvarez family, including private investigator Lee Alvarez and the rest of the members of the family's PI business, Discretionary Inquiries, Inc., is offered a once-in-a-lifetime chance to volunteer on an archaeological dig. They're airborne in hours. It's billed as a nice, relaxing family vacation. All they have to do is identify Cleopatra's mother. But they've barely landed in Cairo when someone tries to run their van off the road. Author Haven hasn't missed a trick in this modern blah, blah, blah. And a whole bunch of blurbage. Moving on. For Better or for Worse by Patty Larson, 9th in the Delane Baker Cozy Mysteries. I like the colors on this cover. That's cool. When an anonymous message suggests that all is not well on Deacon Island, Delane decides to check in with her almost ex-family before leaving for Italy to shoot a mystery. She lands in the middle of one immediately, a funeral tied to someone she knows, a murder she's heard of before, and another death that's far too fresh to be ignored. But can Delane shake off her hurt and loss before the killer gets away with everything? Excuse me. The Case of the Serious Spoonbill by L.C. Richards, 13th in the Julia Lives in a Van series. Julia Ross and her delightfully eccentric friends Dottie and Penelope return to St. Andrews State Park and Shell Island for another week of birdwatching, camping, and Gulf Coast adventure. Joining them is retired park ranger Rick Dobson, who can't wait to show Julia more of the wild places that first made her fall in love with Florida. Then a local UFO enthusiast turns up dead. At first, the case seems straightforward, but when Julia and her friends discover a knife beneath the crystal clear waters off Shell Island, followed by a mysterious cell phone hidden deep in the bay, the investigation takes a startling turn. Suddenly, nothing fits. Not the evidence, not the suspects, and certainly not the motive. Someone has been manipulating everything from the shadows. As Julia follows the trail through hidden affairs, long-held grudges, and dangerous lies, she realizes the killer's plan began long before the murder itself, and if she can unravel the truth, she'll expose a conspiracy no one saw coming. Sorry, a cold is trying to get me, plus all the smoke. The Ghost Fleet Murders by Anna Elliott and Charles Villet. I never know how to pronounce that last name. 11th in the Homefront Sleuths Cozy Mystery Series. I read the first one in this series. It's good. I mean to get back to it at some point. August 1942. Crofters Green's favorite sleuths are headed for the Kent coast, where one of Britain's strangest wartime secrets lies hidden behind shuttered boarding houses and blacked-out promenades. Off the cliffs of Folkestone, just 21 miles from enemy territory, a mysterious ghost fleet rides at anchor, a flotilla of ships built from wood and canvas designed to convince Hitler that invasion may come at any moment. But when a coast watcher is found murdered on the lonely cliff path, Inspector Nigel Brewster and Evie Harris, engaged at last, their wedding only weeks away, go undercover, Evie posing as Nigel's official driver to hunt a double agent determined to expose the fleet as a fraud. If the truth reaches Germany, the consequences could be catastrophic. Back in Crofters Green, Alice, Dorothy, and Blake are meant to be celebrating the arrival of Catherine's new baby. Instead, a second death and a trail of baffling clues suggest the danger reaches far beyond the coast. As blackouts darken the promenade and suspicion spreads through boarding houses, tea rooms, and cliff-top lookouts, the home front sleuths must catch a killer before Britain's boldest wartime deception is exposed. Again, good series. End of that row. Whew, whew. Oh, we're not going to make it. A Bell at Pine Shelf by Mara Nordby. 6th in the Blue Fjord Mysteries. When Elise Hart discovers an old map marked with her Aunt Clara's initials, it leads her across Blue Fjord to Pine Shelf, a remote place once used as a coastal rescue station. There, an old bronze bell still hangs above the water. But when the bell rings in the middle of the night with no one nearby, Elise begins asking questions. A missing rescue record, an abandoned signal light, and decades-old disappearance suggest that Pine Shelf has been hiding more than local history. As Elise and Jonas follow the clues, they uncover a story of loyalty, fear, and a promise that was never meant to be broken. I apologize for the frog. Murder at Morgan's Cove by Andrea Kress, 17th in the Massachusetts Cozy Mysteries. When Amanda, Brendan, and their family arrive at their vacation home overlooking Morgan's Cove in Maine, they find their new neighbors have illegally cut down trees to improve their view, a clear violation of a neighborhood covenant. No kidding. Tensions are already simmering when the neighbors are invited to a cocktail party at the Burnsides. Among the guests is a blind woman who years earlier worked with troubled juveniles, rehabilitating them and placing them with families. By the next morning, she is found dead. 3 young people at the gathering could each be one of her former charges. The puzzle, which one and why would they kill her? Because they're mean and nasty. 3 more to go. A Killer Plot by E.C. Nevin, 2nd in the Jane Hepburn mystery series. Jane Hepburn has almost made it. After solving the murder of her literary agent at last season's Crime Book Festival, Jane receives a burst of internet fame that lands her an invite to a splashy book launch in London. Visiting beloved bookstores along the winding alleyway of Cecil Court and brushing shoulders with famous writers and the editors and agents who made them stars, Jane is looking forward to a fun, murder-free weekend and a distraction from her own writer's block. The party might not be for her novel, but still, Jane's happy to celebrate her far more successful friend with free wine and plenty of books. However, things take a turn for the worse when the hotshot editor is nowhere to be seen, and they really go south after Jane discovers a body in the bookshop's cellar. To ensure that another event isn't overshadowed by an unsolved murder, Jane and her 2 friends, debut novelist and star of the party Natasha Martez and clumsy publicity assistant Daniel Thurston, must put their sleuthing skills to the test. But nothing is as it seems at a party full of attendees with secrets they'd do anything to keep. 2 more to go. Don't Cross Mo Ellery by Bertie Horn. Mo Ellery's 29th birthday is a disaster. After one small accident, the exposure of her boyfriend's genitals, well, maybe not that small, on a work video call, she manages to get fired, dumped, and kicked out of their overpriced Chicago apartment. Luckily, a sign appears to guide Mo to her new life. Looking for flexible part-time work? Become a school crossing guard. It's everything Mo has been looking for. Health insurance. How hard can it be? A few weeks later, Mo is adjusting to her new low-paying job, her bisexual reawakening, and her new neighborhood's wacky characters. There's Claudia, blah, 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 etc., etc. But that's not the worst of it. Some of the locals are convinced that Poodle Dude was murdered. Their allegations are obviously ridiculous, but Mo, desperate for distractions and for several hot neighbor suspects, reluctantly agrees to help. But Mo the detective is just as chaotic as Mo the underemployed adult, and the 3 entitled poodles are not helping. When a second local dies under mysterious circumstances, it's going to take all of Mo's broadly applicable and transferable skills to find the killer. I think I've aged out of that book. End of that row. One more. AKA, that book was not for me. Killing in the Countryside by Maria Malone. It's just another day in the small town of Heft when Allie follows up on a report of an escaped pride of peacocks stirring up in in a once quiet cul-de-sac. The routine call, a case of fuss and feathers, Allie suspects, but what she discovers inside the house the birds have invaded is far more far from routine. The couple who live there have been receiving anonymous hate letters, letters that are at once threatening and suspiciously personal. As Allie and Wilson investigate, they dig up long-buried secrets at the heart of the community. Every detail they uncover brings them closer to the truth that someone in heft will stop at nothing to keep their past hidden. And that is it for the cozies published this week. There were actually a good number of them. Alrighty. Well, I have to rush off to work, etc., etc. Hope you have a good Friday. Hope you have a good weekend. If I don't see you, be safe and read good books. Sprints tomorrow afternoon starting at 3. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.